Hello guys, Zennosh here and welcome to Exos Heroes. And well, our Dana is going to receive her Blue Fate Core upgrade tomorrow, Thursday, July 22nd. That's it. Now let's look into her new skill sets, if it's going to be any help to the current meta contest or not, because so far, not really a great use of her in the battlefield out there. And let's see what are the Blue Fate Core buff that she's going to be providing with her Blue Fate Core. That's it, let's get this started. Looking into her artwork, she definitely is a loli character, not a waifu by 1,000 miles. Okay, yeah, and that's it. Her mount looks pretty fishy, pretty like weird, I would say. Anyways, notice right over here it says Fate Core chance of Shining Summer Dana Recruit. Period is going to be starting July 22nd, Thursday after the maintenance. That is going to be tomorrow after maintenance. And it's going to last until July 28th, Wednesday, 17:59, 2021 UTC time. As she's a Blue Fate Core unit, she's going to drop at 0.5% chance from her own banner, and you will be able to get her for free after 28 multi-summons from her own banner, which is going to cost you about 19,600 SAS. Okay, so, well, there we go. Fate Core ability, it says, attack is going to be boosted by 58 points, defense by 36 points, health by 194 points, and combat power by 10,800 points, which I would say is pretty average. Nothing much to look into that, and not really that great stuff. Anyways, buff to Petas heroes. Okay, she's actually going to provide the buff to the Petas heroes, which I would say is one of the very weakest nation out there for now, because of the lack of the units that is plaguing this department out here. Look at that. In Fated, we only have Prithia, Dana, and Lang. Legendary, none of them. Rare, well, some of the very few listed units out here, which are not even worth mentioning. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Anyways, Fedas heroes are actually going to be receiving this buff effect. Combat power is going to be boosted by 2%, and if you're actually going to do the Fate Core Fusion, the buff effect will actually improve as well. So the combat power can actually be boosted up to a total of 12.6% chance, 12.6% boost, and attack is going to be boosted by 1% up to a maximum of 6.3% boost. Defense by 1%, that's going to be a maximum of 6.30% boost, and finally the health, which is 6% right over here, which is a maximum of about 31% HP boost, which is huge. Okay, which is huge, and definitely that's going to be a really great help to the Prithia, who is a really good Guardian unit, or let's say a tank unit. Alright, so yeah, there we go, guys. Anyways, if you actually want to look into the table right over here, this is the detail where you can actually get it. If you're kind of lucky, I mean, even with the first Fate Core Fusion, you might actually land the A grade type boost right away in your Blue Fate Core. Okay, and that is just too good. Okay, so it is kind of really recommended to you guys to get at least 2 Blue Fate Core units right away, so that you can Fate Core Fusion at least once. Who knows, maybe your luck might actually turn into your favor, and you might actually land up getting the highest possible fusion grade right away, so that you can enjoy this amazing boost right off the bat. Okay, so yeah, there we go, guys. Anyways, as it's a Blue Fate Core unit, guess what, guys? This buff effect is actually going to be applied in the battlefield, even if you are not going to hire them in the battlefield, or let's say even if you are not going to use them in your team, the buff effect is still going to be applied. It's a universal buff, okay? So that's the really good stuff about the Blue Fate Core units, and that's why most of the people really do consider them as a must-have units, okay? I mean, you really are supposed to get them right away, because these buff effects are really amazing, and you really don't even need to use the characters in your team in order to enjoy this buff out there, whether it be the PvE contents or the PvP contents. So it's just a win-win situation. All right, it's just that the unit themselves, they are pretty trash most of the time, the Blue Fate Core units, because they do not have the core memory boost and so many other boosts that actually does not allow them to be competitive against the other units in terms of the stats. And on top of that one, usually they don't get a really massive skill boost, which might actually allow them to be much better than their basic version. All right, so that's it. Above targets right over here, the Petas hero units, Prithia, Dana, Lang, rare units, magic units, none of the legendary units, so that actually is pretty sad. Now let's look into the skill information. Luckily, as a Blue Fate Core unit, she's actually getting some new skill effects, which I would say is pretty great. Mana Absorb 3, it says, passive effect, removes enemy buff and gains mana 1 mana, just like I would say Baelish and Jinai. Gains mana 1 mana additionally if the health of the target is 80% or more, removes 1 mana from the target, and then gains mana 1 mana to self if the health of the target is 30% or less, which is kind of pretty good. All right, because like if the opponent is actually going to be, like kind of stripped off their, or let's say dispelled of their buffs, it's definitely going to be much easier for you guys to have a really good control over your opponents, whether it be the PvE or the PvP contents. Okay, so yeah, there we go, guys. If there is any kind of buff effect, it's just gonna, like automatically remove them, dispel them right away, which can be quite helpful in various situations. A life jacket right over here, which is a buff effect. Okay, so as it's a buff effect, if there is another unit like that, we actually can remove the buff right away. It can be removed right away, so that's going to be the thing right there. If an ally is affected by a debuff, removes all debuffs from the ally and increases critical hit for all the allies by 300 points for 8 turns, which pretty much reminds me of the Fate Annie. Yeah, there we go, guys. It's pretty much like Fate Annie, right? So yeah, there we go, guys. Open successful removal, and 1 time per battle can't be stacked. Okay, so yeah, there we go, guys. There's a little bit of requirement issues right over here. It's a conditional issue. If you do not fulfill that particular condition, then well, it's not gonna get triggered, and that 300 points of the critical hit is not actually going to be applied to all the allies. And 300 points of critical hit rate is pretty good enough. It's pretty good. I mean, like, it will really allow your allies to actually land some really good critical damage against your opponents. And if there are some of your really good offensive type units, like let's say Fetko Baraka, like Fetko Raquel, and so on, they will have much easier time in, like, killing those opponents right away. So, and for 8 turns, which I would say is pretty good as well. It's a pretty offensive buff right over here, but due to the requirement and it being a buff effect, thing is that, like, it can be easily dispellable by other units like herself. Okay, and yeah, there we go, guys. And it's pretty like conditional out here as well, which usually do not get triggered that frequently. Okay. Anyways, next is gonna be the Galaxy Destruction right over here. All effect deals 63% to all the damage, and overtime effect afflicts the target with the burn, dealing 39% damage every turn for the 2 turns, which I would say is pretty weak, pathetic. Unless you actually are going to pair her up with Jinai or any kind of like superstar idol type of hero units who actually doubles the damage inflicted with the dot damage, then that is gonna be much better. Okay, but for now, just like this one right over here, it's not really that good. Okay, because like fast guardian units, they can actually totally counter this kind of skills right away. Anyways, next is going to be the active skill number 2, required mana 3 mana, and there is no burst effect with it, so that is the problem with that. Special cleansing, single target deals 525% damage to one enemy, just like Baraka. Remember, special if the caster has build formation mark, thanks to Prithiof, alright, in the team, deals 250% additional piercing damage, which is a bonus hefty damage. So if you have Prithiof in your team and he's actually providing that build formation mark, that is going to be really great. And not only that, she's going to deal that 525% basic damage to a particular opponent, she's also going to have that additional 250% of piercing damage, which is definitely going to be a massive hefty damage. It's a single target with the 3 mana consumption right over there. Definitely the signature force damage is going to be huge as well, so definitely this is going to be her bread and butter. This will really allow her to deal some really hefty heavy damage to a particular opponent, so that is pretty great indeed. Okay, now that said, the main question is, are you really supposed to summon her or not? The answer is simply yes. Why? Because just plainly because she is a blue Fate Core unit, so that you can actually provide this buff effect to the Peras hero units. It's just that like the Peras hero units are not actually having a really good time right now, because first of all, they also kind of lack the core memory, let alone our Prithiof not having a gold Fate Core as of now so far. So all that said and done, they are pretty much really like premature at this point. I mean, like, no, they're not really totally developed at this point. And you can see right over here that, like, you just cannot form a really good team with the this Peras nation. So that is also a really big problem out here. Okay, so well, blue Fate Cores are always a must-have thing, but as considering this to be a very underdeveloped nation at the point, it's definitely up to you. If you really even don't want to summon, it's totally fine. Okay, it's totally fine. If you don't want to summon, It's all right. You want to save sis for some really good gold Fate Core hero unit that's going to come real soon in the future. Possibly, maybe Fate Core Dorka. Who knows, right? If that's going to be the case, then well, you might actually want to save your sis at that point. And if you really want to summon her, no harms whatsoever. You are still going to be in a profitable business because some way, some house is definitely going to be providing that extra boost, which is definitely going to be a really great favor in terms of Prithiof, Dana, and Lang. Alright, so yeah, there we go, guys. That is pretty much it. And now, when we are looking into her effectivity in the battlefield, I would say, I mean, like, she just definitely has managed to get this life jacket passive skill effect, which is pretty good, which is offensive, but it's kind of conditional. It's a buff effect, can be easily dispelled, and so on and on. So, with all these kind of things considered, she's not someone who is actually gonna even make any kind of dent out there in the current ongoing meta. So you definitely are not actually gonna see her out there being used in the battlefield. So well, as a unit herself, she's pretty much a thrash unit as well. So anyways, if you're going to summon her, it's totally mainly due to her blue Fate Core buff. And now let's look into her exclusive weapon, Chance of Flight Flamingo. So Fly Flamingo right over here, guys, it's a total bullshit. It's a scam. You are not supposed to summon for this particular item right over here. It's gonna be a total waste of your money, your cess, whatsoever. Alright, and it's a scam. Please don't really summon for this item unless you are a whale and you really do want to give this particular equipment to her. Then well, that's a different case of scenario. Don't worry, guys. Through the help of the holy Dragon Grounds drop, the Relic of Dragon Dynasty summons, you might possibly get this equipment one day or another in a very long run. Alright, so yeah, that is pretty much it. Not much to really look into it right over here. That's pretty much it for today, guys. What do you guys think about my insights? Let me know in the comment section below. If you guys really do agree with whatever I've said so far, please do hit that like and subscribe button right away. If you have any other extra opinions, if you have any kind of criticisms, feedbacks, insights, please do let me know in the comment section below so that we can have a really good discussion about that. And that's it and done. This is it for today. See you guys in the next video.